Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 585 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined once again by Ben Funky Askren, and filling in today for one Stephen Kalbracki, James Dean Rader. His name is James Dean Rader.
Put some respect on it.
Put some respect on it for once. Appreciate him coming in, and he's got a very festive, very on-brand sweater here for the day.
It just looks green. I can't see it. Is it anything else?
It's like a forest greenish kind
yeah,
of.
Okay.
JD's. I would describe JD's fashion motif as main fly fish shop owner slash I don't know, salesman. He just always looks, yeah, that works, right? And so, but every now and again he'll break out a Joe Diffie t-shirt, so you never know what this guy's gonna wear.
You never know.
But Ben, on last Thursday's show, we teased the news. I told you this news. I didn't forget to tell you.
Friday news dump. Typical Friday news dump.
It was a Thursday news dump. It was a Thursday news
out there, and we don't even get to talk about it. Christian, typical bull crap.
I'm sorry. It's just the way it worked. It would have made so much more sense to have done it a little bit earlier, but better to do it right than right away. So we did it right, and very exciting news. Obviously, if you don't know what we're talking about the fact that Jordan Burroughs and David Taylor are wrestling each other January 9th on FloWrestling. And this was a match where I said on the show, I don't think it's happening. I think it's done.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
Really,
Yeah,
I guess we both said it. It's not going to happen. We don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the reasons it wasn't going to happen ever involved them not wanting to wrestling each other. I think there were just other things that were obstacles in it. But I believe that Jordan wanted this match for a long time, and I know for a fact David wanted it for a long time, because when I went to
why? So hold on. Okay, so I could the why David wanted it for a long time is obvious. He lost to the guy a bunch of times. He thinks he's better. He thinks he beat him now. What is Jordan's motivation besides he got called out, right?
Legacy.
What would his motivation be?
yeah, I mean, he talks about it all the time.
He goes up and beats the guy. It adds to his legacy, even despite the fact that he's already beat him. What, did he beat him 3 times, 4 times?
He beat him
Bunch, right?
He beat him 4 times.
4 times, right? So he's already beat him 4 times. So, do you think it's just if I even despite the fact that I've already beat this guy 4 times, he has now gone up. He's reached a new level. So if I go beat him, that kind of adds to my legacy. So that's what you're saying the impetus was.
Well, I think that's part of it, and I listened to the Jordan David presser with Bader, and he said he started to feel really, really good during this COVID time and feel like, man, I think I can beat anyone regardless of weight. So I think Jordan has kind of a renewed, I don't know if I want to say renewed confidence, because that would insinuate it had waned, but his confidence level is an extra boost.
Let me play conspiracy theorist for you, Christian, because I love. Let's do this.
Here we go. I mean, okay. I already have this in the doc as something to talk about, but let's go to it.
What? What do you think I'm going to say?
Well, I think you're going to talk about him wanting to move up.
Oh, no. That's not what yes, I do feel that way, but that's not. What do you think? Because listen, I'm not saying I'm on the inside of these negotiations, but I hear enough, right? Mm-hmm. I hear things. And I feel like, so we thought it was going to happen at one point, and it died, right? This was was it October-ish when that first happened? Kind of fell through?
I felt like around when we first announced Taylor versus Heed, it picked up a lot of heat.
Jordan
versus Heed.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Jordan versus Heed.
But it was happening before that, because before that, you guys were, it was trying to make David and Jordan happen, correct? So that was like October.
I think it...
Okay, anyways, it did happen. Jordan and David almost happened before.
Yes.
Okay, and at the last minute, whatever, it fell through. Okay, and then you and I both thought it was dead. I didn't really hear anything much of it. Now, David has this really competitive match with Gabe Dean. Yes. And then all of a sudden, a week later, the match is freaking done. I think Jordan Burroughs watched the match, said, you know what? I thought I could beat him. I wanted to add Muzzy. I watched this match. I'm going to beat this dude for sure. Let's make this happen. What do you think?
That is interesting. Now I want to rewind what I do know about the timeline and
Because
see
you
if that
probably
actually
you
makes
probably
sense.
know more. You know more than I know, I'm sure. I've been kind of hearing inklings, hearing this and that just it feels like that makes sense of the timeline. And you know, I didn't really think I thought Gabe would be able to slow David down, but I thought it was going to be an 8-0, 10-0, something like that. And
Yes.
when that match happened, I thought, wow, David looked in that match, and maybe he had an off night, but he looked kind of vulnerable in that match. I mean, if you think about the Miles match, you looked damn near unbeatable. And if you're an opponent and you're thinking, okay, he looks a lot less intimidating after the Dean match than he did after the Miles Martin match. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
When did they wrestle? When did Dean and
November 20 something. Hold on, I'll get my calendar out. It was
22nd, I
right
think.
before it was right before
2
Thanksgiving.
weeks after.
So yeah, Thanksgiving was the 26th. So I think they wrestled the 24th, maybe. Was it that? Was that one it was?
Yeah, I think it did pick up around that time.
So, but that just made me think that, I mean, if you're watching that and you're Jordan Burroughs, especially from the gas tank issue, because we watched Jordan gas out Zahid, and David got really tired in the second period. Listen, if Gabe's a little more dynamic, he's got a much better chance of scoring a takedown. And guess what? Jordan Burroughs is, in fact, more dynamic than Gabe Dean. Sorry, Gabe.
Yes, I don't think you're getting any exuberant
Shouldn't get
arguments
pushback on that.
from Gabe
Yes.
on that one. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is a factor. And to your point about the Zahid match, Ben, Jordan's probably not going to take a match that he doesn't feel certain he can win, right? And we felt like, all right, he certainly feels he can beat Zahid. And now it's a new level here. It's a completely different beast with David Taylor. But
Yeah.
I think he is supremely confident. And I think, all right, here, tell me if I'm crazy here. This could be
Okay.
totally insane. I just think you throw Pace out. I think it's just negated. And then, boom, you just took away one of David Taylor's biggest weapons right away.
That's
Throw
fair.
Pace out.
Just throw it out.
Yeah, that's one of his biggest weapons. Absolutely.
And so now if you lose one of your biggest weapons, that's already things are, maybe materializing the right way. I don't know. I mean, I said I'm picking Burroughs here, and I think it may be against conventional thought. I just think he finds a way and figures it out. But I think
So I think before the Dean match, I would have picked Taylor, and now it really has me questioning it because when I say when
I don't think we're going to see the
way
same David Taylor that wrestled.
Why not?
Gabe Dean.
Why is it going to be different? You think David
I think
Taylor
he's going
wanna
to
show up
show up,
Dean?
wrestle to his opponent. We're talking about a guy that
David Taylor
beating us
doesn't do
down.
that. David Taylor kills people.
he does
David
kill
Taylor is
people.
not a guy who shows up and says, "Oh, you're not very good. I'm not going to train very hard for you." That's not David Taylor. David Taylor, if you're not very good, he's going to do what who he did to Miles Martin. He 10-0'd him in like 2 minutes. I mean, that's what David Taylor does to
I know,
people.
I agree, but I think when we see David Taylor knows he's wrestling Jordan Burroughs for however many weeks ahead of schedule,
Yeah.
we are going to see the best optimized version of David Taylor.
But
Yeah,
why do you
on
think we
January
didn't
9th.
see the best optimized version against Gabe Dean? Do you think he was
That I
sick?
don't
Do you
know.
think he was hurt? Because that is not typical David Taylor. And I was by saying not typical, I don't think we've ever seen it where he has shown up to a competition.
No, and he's not a
unprepared
guy
to perform his
who's
best.
he trains hard all the time. He's not a guy that
Yeah.
when he doesn't have anything coming, he sits
You
around.
can
He's
think of
not-
those
he's not
guys.
loafing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about Gabe Dean. I think if you look at 86, how many just domestically really good hand fighters do we have at 86? Guys that are like stand in there and move you around and really powerful, but dynamic enough that they can stand in front of you and pull on your head. Like who fits that
Well-
description at 86? How
Well,
many
for David
guys?
Taylor, they both have to be a good hand fighter plus kind of dynamic with their defense. Say like Sammy Brooks would be a good hand fighter, but David Taylor's gonna eat his lunch,
Yes.
for example.
So
Yeah.
I mean, my point is there's not many examples of guys like this domestically. And yes, he has melted Yazdani twice, but his hand fighting was problematic early on, and his physical
Yazdani's
power,
was. Yeah.
was a problem early on. And then, David was too much in the end. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think you could
But
similarly
hold on.
say Gabe. My point is Gabe Dean's a unique beast, and don't make it about he didn't look good here. It's like no, it's about Gabe Dean is a guy that can maybe.
But Gabe Dean went 1-1 with Nate Jackson. You picking Jordan Burroughs or Nate Jackson?
Come on, dog. I ain't
Who
dignifying
are you
that
picking?
one. JB.
Yeah, obviously, right? And so that would be, again, if I'm trying to, you want me to prognosticate on this, I'm trying to give you as many pieces of information as I can. And I'm telling you that watching David versus Gabe, if I did not watch that, I would have thought David's got this. There's no problem here. He's going to win, 6-2 against Jordan, something to that effect, right? When I watched that and I watched Jordan versus Zahid, I think, Jordan could get David tired and score some points in the second period. That's what I think.
Yes, that could happen. I mean, you have to assume that's what Jordan thinks. I mean, I thought the press conference was really fascinating because I liked. I thought the best part was actually at the end when Bader's asking them like, "Okay, make predictions," and obviously they're not gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna win" or "How," but Jordan like goes into, well, if David wants it this way, it'll go this way, but if he does it this way, it'll like if he slows it down, he could keep it closer, almost like playing. He did a similar thing with Zahid, and then with David's like, the best thing for him, they basically trying to get in their opponent's head and say how they should wrestle him.
Call their weaknesses.
Yeah, and keep it close and almost like challenge them to go to the area where they probably feel best. So I thought that was the most curious part. I think conventional wisdom here, and if Vegas is prognosticating this, I don't know how you don't make David Taylor the favorite, right? Because
it has to
not by much. Not by much.
No,
Barely.
it's almost a pick 'em,
Tiny.
but
Yes.
So the case for David Taylor is sort of obvious, right? In 2014, this dude had Jordan Burroughs dead to rights at the U.S. Open. It was a 6-3 win. At the break in one of their trials matches, I'm pretty sure Taylor had the lead.
Yep.
This was 2014 David Taylor. He had just graduated college. He was class of 14, right? Graduates college. Yes. He graduated in 14, Dakin 13. And so you're like, okay, they were that close then. And that was, in many ways, height of powers Jordan Burroughs, right? That 13.
I would say. Yeah.
Right? And now he got hurt that year at Worlds and didn't win, but he was still bronze. And so you think, okay, how much better is... So the question you want to ask is like, how much better is Burroughs from 14 to 20? I mean, the real question that everyone's asking is he regressing? Is he getting worse, right? I tend to think he is actually maybe slightly better or about the same level. But Taylor, on the other hand, is like, he wins Worlds. He hasn't lost to an American, or he hasn't lost, period, since 2017 to Jaden, who he also beat that same day. It was very, very close, highly contentious, highly debated series, right? And Jaden is a 2-time world champion now and Olympic bronze medalist. So, and you see him do that up a weight, 29 pounds difference. Man, is that just too much weight to give up? And plus how much better he is. And oh, by the way, they were pretty close 6 years ago and David's only jumped levels. It's hard to look past those facts and say, yeah, Jordan can really do it.
I mean, that was kind of my thought process initially, but now given new information, and like you could say that David was training through Gabe, but that doesn't really make sense because like
training through for what?
Exactly. Training through for what? Like what? There was nothing else on the calendar at that point in time for him. So it's like, that really doesn't make sense. So it's, and again, the amount of times David has came to a competition unprepared is I can't name one.
Yeah.
And so I am just going to default to that. That is either maybe not the best version of David, but a really good version. And who knows, maybe he was sick, right? Or maybe there was a small injury and he didn't want to pull out. There is that possibility. I don't know that to be true, but yeah, I mean, I was thinking right down the same lines as you, Christian, until I saw that match.
Yeah. Man, I think honestly, the Dean match doesn't factor in for me. I don't know why.
Why?
I mean,
Why wouldn't it?
because
It factors in, but it doesn't change. I don't pivot now because of one match like that after watching the past
But
2
hold
years
on.
of David Taylor.
David Taylor was this unstoppable juggernaut the last 2 years, as in 2018 and 2019. I mean, okay, 2018, 2019, who was competitive with David Taylor? Name a competitive
Karuglia.
match.
yeah, Karuglia probably
When he
the
knocked
one.
him out.
Yeah,
Okay,
kicked him in the
and
head.
that's one.
Well,
He got
okay,
knocked out,
here's
he's still one. That's one match. Dean took him to the wire. Dean was in on what would have been the winning takedown had he been able to convert.
so here's
And you see Jordan Burroughs in a bunch of competitive matches.
yeah, with guys that are never sniffed a medal, right? Digging deep against guys that have never.
Franklin Gomez?
Which
No,
is-
Gomez has medaled.
Yeah, silver medalist.
yeah.
But like
Almost
opening
medal.
round of Worlds, I don't even remember who
I
he
don't-
was wrestling.
Who the guy was?
But he
Really?
had to get
Who?
only-
Yeah,
Yes,
this.
dude. His
Which
19
year?
worlds was insane.
Yes.
He almost lost.
I need to look this up.
Yeah, look at
I don't
it. Go
recall it.
rewatch that match. He had to get late match heroics.
Although I will admit that is Jordan's MO versus not David Taylor's. David Taylor's MO is tech everybody.
Buzzsaw.
Yes, tech mall.
All right, here's the thing. I am a big believer in throwing out outlier performances. Okay.
What's
Wait-
that called in math
Fair.
where you take the worst and the best
Yeah,
performance and throw them out?
Yeah. So
like
here's
the
my
medium?
thought.
Yeah.
I think the Gabe Dean David Taylor match is an outlier performance for David Taylor. When he wins matches, he kills people. So I throw
Yes.
it out. I said when Miles looked terrible against David Taylor, I said, okay, yeah, I know he looked really bad. Throw it out. I think he's gonna win the 8-man. And
Oh,
that was an outlier performance for Miles Martin. It was a very unique circumstance. I don't know what the
Sure.
circumstances necessarily were for David, but I throw it out and listen. All right, how about let's play this game? If David and Gabe were wrestling on January 9th instead of Jordan Burroughs, how much would you think David would beat him by? You think it'd be a 4-2 match late and he'd get a late counter takedown to win 6-2?
I want to say no, but then also, why do I think it would be any different?
Because it just
You know
would.
what I'm saying?
Listen. My gut is that David would blow that match out the next time.
I
That's
mean,
just what
that
feel.
seems like the correct answer, but I also don't know why if he was going to do that, why didn't he do it last time?
I don't know. Maybe Gabe presented problems that he didn't have the immediate solutions for that he
Yeah.
would now have. Right? Didn't this
Okay.
happen to you? Was there ever anyone that wrestled you tough and then you saw what they did and you killed them?
That son of a bitch, Chris Pendleton. I could never beat him.
You beat him. You beat him once.
Damn it, once. But no, because I would say I'm more like David Taylor in that essence is like, no, I didn't really have competitive matches. You know, besides I could never beat Pendleton, and besides that, no one was really close, and there was no one where it was like you're describing where I can't beat. Well, there was this one guy I couldn't beat. I had 4 non-bonus point wins my junior year, Piles,
Oh boy.
and three were to this MFer Wes Roberts. I could not kill this dude. He was a bum. He never even came close to All-American, and I could not kill him. I won 8-5, 6-3, and 6-4. It was like the most annoying thing. Now you're getting me mad. It was the most annoying thing ever. The only other match I had in bonus that year was my first round at Nationals, and Michael Chandler forgot his breakfast and was losing his mind over forgetting his breakfast. I said, listen, I've got a bum. I'm going to pin him. You can have my breakfast. And then a minute of the match, I couldn't feel my legs, and I still beat this guy from Bakersfield 9-2. That was the only other non-bonus win, except freaking Wes Roberts. So
Wes
there's
Wesley. He kept his
Wes
elbows.
freaking Roberts. I could not bonus
Where-
point
Probably
him.
only
It
have
was
to
the
quadrangular
most
3
annoying
times
He
too.
he went to Binghamton?
thing. No, he's an Oklahoma kid.
Oh, Oklahoma. Okay. I thought you said
Yeah,
something
Oklahoma. I could not bonus point Wes Roberts. I never did. It was the most frustrating thing ever.
else. Man.
I don't know. He stalled his ass off, obviously.
But normally that didn't stop.
Well, yeah, normally I pinned them. I got bonus points on everybody except freaking Wes freaking Roberts.
Man.
Okay, point taken. Gabe Dean is Wes Roberts to David Taylor.
Yeah. And there could be that, except, I don't think Wes Roberts was probably ever in on the match-winning takedown against you with, 30 seconds to go. If I had to guess.
National. No, I don't think so. I mean, he did take me down, which was really frustrating because Billy Ames took me down.
Man, he didn't stall that much.
I got the first takedown in the match in Columbia. Oh my God! So
Well,
that
beast.
wasn't enough to make you mad enough to bonus point him.
I could not listen, JD. I wanted to bonus point this dude so bad. Because the first match in Columbia, we wrestled, and I'm like, okay, this dude got lucky. He was my first. He ruined my streak. I bonused everybody that year. He was the first one I didn't bonus, and we're talking it's the middle of February, and I'm like, okay, F this dude. I'm so pissed, and I wrestled him at Big 10s, and I couldn't. Or sorry, Big 12s. And I couldn't. And listen, he was a bum. He was the 4 seed. I was the 1 seed. He was 4 out of 5. It's not like I wrestled him in the finals.
Yeah.
I couldn't bonus him. And then I got him second round nationals. And I couldn't freaking bonus him. You guys are making me mad.
Man,
it's God.
Listen, if Flow was really prevalent and like all the matches were on YouTube, people would be breaking down that Wes Roberts film like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know that it exists anywhere. I could not bonus freaking Wes Roberts. It was so annoying. Christian, I bonused 81 out of 87 matches my last 2 years, I think, and three of them were to Wes Roberts. I couldn't score points on this dude. That son of a gun.
That's good trivia there. Daggone Wes Roberts. So, I throw out the. I kind of throw it out, right? I'm not.
Like I said, I take it into consideration, but I don't pivot
A more measured approach from JD. He's going to take it under consideration.
I will consider this match result, but it doesn't alter my thought process of David Taylor on paper should still probably be a favorite.
Okay, so
hey, the Burroughs result that you're talking about is in the second round of Worlds 2019. It was Nurikau. I've heard of this guy. I don't know much about him, but he won 11-10.
Yeah, I actually thought his first match was.
I thought he did too.
No, he. So it was Jordan's first match, but there was a round before, right? There was a round before.
Yeah,
that.
That's what I meant. So it was his first match.
His first match.
Basically, he had another really close one too.
Yeah, he won 6-4 over Kuramagomedov, he says he's Hungarian, but he's obviously Russian of some sort.
Yes. That was a very close one. I don't believe he has medaled that year.
But so the thing, and one of the things that gets overlooked about Jordan Burroughs, and Jordan Burroughs has said this is overlooked about me, is he doesn't get scored on a lot. He's really tough to score on. He has great baseline defense. He has great reattacks, and he scrambles really well when guys are on his legs. He is very hard to put points up on, which you wouldn't know from that Nurikau match. But that's one thing. It's like if he kind of stuffs or slows down David and then starts opening up in the second period, maybe that's the strategy that Jordan goes to. And that's kind of a little bit, I'm sure he didn't want Zahid to have those takedowns, but that was maybe his strategy to turn up the heat in the second period.
Yeah, probably not. And yeah, trying to think about how's Jordan going to score. Is he going to be able to reattack David, reliably? Is David going to be able to get his hands on him and move him around and get to his collar tie? And can Jordan avoid that? Or can Jordan stand in there and hand fight with David Taylor? That's a question I have. Is he going to allow that? Yeah. Or is he going to try to wrestle everything from space? Because I think that's going to get tough if that's the game plan. Do you think there is some...
It's going to be tough if he's trying to wrestle from space or stay in the pocket.
I think it's going to be hard to wrestle from space the whole time. I think he's got to be in.
David's not going to try to wrestle. Yeah, David's going to try to be on him, right? That's
for sure. We know that.
Jordan's a good hand fighter, so he's not going to back up.
Okay. So I didn't know if you...
I don't think.
Well, I didn't know if you think it'd be necessary for Jordan just to keep a distance almost at all times as much as he can, or can he stand in there?
I think he can stand in there.
I think he can stand in there. I think at times he will get space to attack as he does, but I think, he is going to stand in there for a decent portion of the bout.
Zahid Valencia snapped this dude to his knees several times in that match. And, I'm sure Zahid's hands are heavy, but you have to figure that David's hands are heavier.
Yeah. But Jordan doesn't mind going to both knees either. I don't think he's scored from that, correct? Yeah. Jordan doesn't mind going to both knees.
Position.
Yeah, he's relatively comfortable there. And I think he does that versus Right, he drops both knees.
He drops
versus
his knees
leaning,
before
you know,
he bends like this.
at the waist, and
Yes.
gets chest heavy over because that would make him unathletic. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it. So there were some there were a lot of cool sound bites, but one thing JB was saying, size changes, hearts don't. Like basically, I'm gonna want
Good line.
It's a very good line, very good line, Jordan. Point Jordan for that line. I think that's something he's counting on. And it's funny as this match gets announced, people hit you up, and someone's like, "Man, these two scrapped at the OTC in 2016 before kind of David really became what he is now, world champion, but he was still good. He was up at 86, and apparently it was super nip and tuck, but like Jordan just winning all the little exchanges and scrambles to come out on top in like a practice match in 2016, which, you kind of throw it out, but also maybe I will take it under consideration like JD did. And it's not competition,
But that, again,
but it is
that's
notable.
before David became David,
I know.
in what I guess in his current form. I would say we wouldn't say 2016 David is nearly as good as, say,
That was his first year up at 86. He had definitely not filled out like he has now, and I'm sure is much more confident now after bringing home a world title. And that year he still lost to Dake at Olympic trials.
Yes, and then he got third. So, and one other thing that was interesting, it was like, we're talking about matches from 2014, and I thought one of the cooler lines was when Dave was like 6 years ago, and he said like, if a loss to the effect of like if a loss from 6 years ago was still affecting me, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Well, define effect. He still clearly thinks about it.
Well, yeah, but he's like, if affecting me negatively, and Jordan's like, yeah, that's true, because like Jordan was like trying to be like, I did it then, and then David's like, well, I don't know. I thought it was cool, a cool little concession from Jordan. Like, yeah, he's clearly been able to evolve from 2014.
Yeah. I'm watching this Nurikawa Burroughs match right now. So you guys with the commentary. Nurikawa scores 2 chest wraps and is up 6-2. Burroughs is already coming, or it feels like Burroughs is already melting him in the first period. I don't know how this is still competitive at the end of the second, but I will update you when I get that far.
It goes down to the wire.
Oh man, it's like it was freak out time, and also it was freak out time for so many reasons. One, because this dude ain't pulling Jordan back because Sidikov was on his side. So you're like, well, he's gonna have to beat this dude because he's not pulling you back in. Yeah, so that's one of the many crazy matches of Jordan Burroughs' career. So are you guys prepared to make predictions yet?
Yeah.
I really don't know. Like, and I'm not gonna know. I can say I just need to go back and watch more film or something, but this is a match you just have to like first instinct go with your gut. Who are you picking?
Yeah, that's what I did. That's why I think Burroughs.
Oh man, my instinct. Oh, I see my man John Broughton sneaking up with his little handheld camera. These other dudes are telling him to get lost.
Yeah.
You guys know John Broughton? He's a fantastic cameraman.
Yes.
Okay. Now I don't know what Jordan's complaining about. He's yelling about something, but he's up 7-6. Jordan is all fired up. He's literally yelling at the referee. He's at the judges table yelling at the referee right now. I can't tell. I don't have the volume on, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
I'm not sure what happened. I don't recall that.
It's been a while since I watched that match.
There's 8 seconds left in the first period. He's winning, and he's fired up about something.
Do we need to take a 5-minute break for you to finish this match? Or
oh, listen, I think you guys are probably enjoying my commentary. Maybe not. So I am gonna. Oh God, who am I gonna pick? Christian.
It can be a big reveal if you want.
My gut says that Jordan's going to find a way to win after watching. So my first take was, David's going to handle him. After watching, they both had matches in November. After watching both their matches in November, my gut is telling me that Jordan's going to find a way to win in the second period, like a 6-5 or something to that effect. But then part of me says, Ben, you're an idiot for thinking that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's easy to feel like an idiot any way you pick, because you're either you're picking against someone amazing, which I think if you feel like an idiot picking either guy, which I kind of do, that's just tells you everything you need to know about the match. Like, it's going to be, you really don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be a really competitive, exciting match. I see no scenario this match is a dud, right? Both guys are going to attack a lot. And there's going to be some ridiculous flurries and exchanges. My thought is,
awesome.
How fast does Burroughs is a great scrambler, and they're probably like David Taylor's like one of his main attributes are like his pace and his scrambling, right? He just out scrambles, and especially David's. What's interesting about David is his scrambling advantage is ratcheted up in international competitions. Those guys look less aware of what's happening to them than even domestic competitors do against David, because I think he just does some things that they're unfamiliar with. I think it's one
looking for cradles,
like looking for cradles all the time.
Well, and that far ankle series that he uses, that's not widely used internationally, but I know Burroughs is he's very schooled in there. So I think David, I would still feel David had the advantage, but not as much of an advantage. I know when I did that scoring breakdown, we did the 2 world championships in the US Open, men's and women's. I did it for myself first, and then Brutus wanted to publish it, so I said cool. But yeah, I was shocked. I don't know if shocked is the word. I was surprised that some of the more typical scrambles we see in American collegiate wrestling, they were not scoring very many points internationally, and so those guys aren't really using them. And obviously it's you're seeing a lot more crotch lifts and chest locks and that type of stuff scoring points. But the scrambles don't score nearly as many points at the international level as I would have predicted going into it.
When you trained with Jordan years ago or whenever that was, how much?
That wasn't that long ago. It was January of 2018.
Oh, okay. No, not that long ago. So when you rolled with him there, kind of assess his scrambling and how many exchanges y'all got into and messed around with it.
No, like I said, he's really good. And one of the things that impressed me most about him, and I think I do those mental Mondays. I think I did a mental Monday about it afterwards. Oh my gosh, Jordan's kind of getting tired of this match. This guy just got a takedown on him in the second period. But one of the things, he wanted to be in all these positions. He had scouted me. He knew kind of where I was good. Like, hey, you have a good front head pinch and you're a good gut wrench. So I want to feel against your gut wrench. I want to feel against your head pinch. Or, there's this unique position I do where someone is, low single under my leg and I'm really good there. He said, hey, let's work from that position. Right. He wanted to feel all these things that I was really good at. We would spend time in there, and then we would talk about, hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? Where's your pressure? All of that type of stuff, So he that is so rare. I have high school kids who think they're so good that they can't be embarrassed by putting themselves in bad position, And now we're talking about a guy who's
humbles himself.
He's one of the greats of all time, obviously, and he's saying, okay, let me get in all these shit positions and see if you can score on me. Because I want to feel my weaknesses. I want to feel where someone could potentially score points or beat me. Like that's a very unique thing.
Yeah. Okay. I had a specific question about just like, so you believe that David's going to have a slight advantage in the scrambles, but it's not fast.
That's how I feel. I feel like it'll be an advantage, but it's not going to be a huge advantage. And like if they were to get into a far ankle scramble and Jordan wins, that's not shocking to me. It's not like, oh my God, I thought David was so much better. I can't believe Jordan won that scramble. Like I said, okay, we got 56 seconds left. My man Nurikov is faking a knee injury and he's beating Jordan 10-7. It's fake, and in international you can get as long as you want, but it's so funny because these referees like get back to the middle. It's like, don't you know I have as long as I want? You literally can't make me wrestle, dude.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm surprised Mustafayev doesn't do that more often.
Yeah,
they can't caution.
He tries his best. But when you start lighting a cigarette in the corner, caution. They don't. Huh?
How can they caution? The rule says you can have as much injury time as you want. How can you caution anyone?
They have the.
If the referee sees like you're obviously faking this injury, they will caution you if you refuse to get back to the center.
That's why you say a rib or something that they can't see, an ankle, something to that effect.
Yeah, internal bleeding. Prove it.
Internal bleeding.
Prove I'm not bleeding internally, sir.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, this dude did fake an injury. He probably was freaking out. You know, one thing that is fascinating to me, so like we all understand why Jordan Burroughs would want this match, right? For him, if you go up to David Taylor and you lose, no one's like, oh, maybe Jordan's not as good as we thought, right? Or maybe he's not the GOAT. But if he wins, like Jordan literally said, this is like elevating me further, closer to the GOAT conversation, right? Because these are things that, I guess he would say that by comparison, John Smith didn't do this, right? And that's ultimately who he's compared to right now, him or Bruce. And so
Burroughs got takedown 10-9.
Thank goodness.
Wait, hold on. The one famous match with John Smith, did he bump up or was it the opposite way?
Glazov?
I'm trying to. Well, but then there was also the Steven Sarkisian match or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a bump around match. I don't know which way. And then obviously the other thing is, back then, oh my gosh, this guy's got a caution and a point, and this is gonna be the determiner because he would have had the criteria from the 4-pointer. What?
Sorry.
Okay, he deserved it though. But back then there was more weight classes. There was more weight classes, right? There was
way more, yeah.
Let's see, 25, 36, 49, and he was 36, right? So you see a few more weight classes there.
Right. So, Sarkisian beat John here at the World Cup. I'm not sure what their entire history was. But what the point I was attempting to make was that David doesn't have as much to win here, right? Jordan, it's really clear. If David loses, it's like, man, this dude bumped up and beat you. It's like he's kind of assuming a lot of the risk here. What's up, Chuckles?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
These guys are they're picking on me in the face. I went over to the Facebook chat, Christian.
Good.
Do you know what Wes Roberts' career record is?
Oh no. What?
His career record's 31-30.
No.
Winning record.
I couldn't bonus him. What in the hell? Three times.
You know what else I want to find? I want to find all the people that did bonus. Because you know that if this dude lost 30 times, he got bonused.
Probably.
So we can find.
He was a senior that year. So I mean, he was like a round of 16, a round of 24 guy. But I was bonusing people in the finals. Like I should have bonused him, but I could not do it. I don't know why. Anyways, thanks for picking on me, guys.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Does this, if Jordan wins, is he like shut down discussion GOAT?
No,
I don't think so.
I'm not there yet. I mean, listen,
he will never be able to.
He can't do 6 for 6, so he's got to do. He can't do 6 in a row
unless he continues past 2024.
Which that'll be he'd be getting up there in age. So I don't think he can't pass John the conventional 6 for 6 way. That's out the door. So he's got to get. I feel like to get there, he's got to do things like this: beat David Taylor. He's got to beat Kyle Dake again, keep a 2-time world champ off the team. He's got to win the Olympics, and then he wins the Olympics twice, and then he gets significantly over, or at least a couple over 6 total world and Olympic titles. Then he's there. He's at 5 right now. So you win the Olympics, you're at 6. And then if he can pepper in another world title or 2, then I think you can have the discussion.
I feel like this is going to be one where at this, with JB, it'll never happen. And, who maybe Jane goes on a run and does something crazy, or, someone else. But where, like college, who's the greatest college wrestler of all time? Well, there's only one obvious answer here. It's obvious. It's 159-0. No one else has done that. He won 4 national titles. He had bonus points. Like, there's not really a good debate for anybody else. And with the worlds, I think, you could make, if especially if Jordan goes and does this, you could make a very good argument for him. I think even without it, you could make a good argument for the fact that the weight classes were so far reduced and they're more challenging. Like there's arguments you can make here. And, even if you want to go the Bruce Baumgartner route where he won 15 straight world medals, including 4 world titles, like I think you can make a reasonable argument for him. Now, very few people are going to agree with you, but there's other arguments you can make, and I think it's almost
also the fall
always
of
going to be that
Soviet Union.
Yes.
Now that
it's
you
spread
have to
out,
go
there's
through
more of
multiple
those in the world.
Russians versus
one motherland
Yes.
Russian. And I think I don't know this. An expert's expert would maybe know, but like I feel like the transfer thing, just throw out the former Soviet thing, but we got guys wrestling for.
Well, that's what I meant too. Like
the transfer thing is exploded.
That's what I say. You have to go through multiple Russians now.
Yeah, but no. You don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Christian, I understand what you're saying. But even without the transfer thing, which I don't think was a thing back then, even if you just count the former Soviet republics, which are really good at wrestling, really good. I mean,
Georgia.
We're talking Georgia, Azerbaijan, Ukraine usually has a pretty salty squad. Obviously, there's Russia. So minimum 4, but you could throw in
Kazakhstan's not bad.
Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan's usually got a few good guys.
Yeah,
you could throw, but there is like I think it's 14 former Soviet republics which compete at the World Championship. So
you have to go through that, and then the third Dagestani that transferred to Turkey or where
France.
Yeah,
Turkey.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that was happening back in that era. Like, I feel like less, but that's just.
I think a lot less. I mean, well, it'd be pretty easy to at least to go back to one of those brackets and look. I mean, when I see what was the name from Hungary, Musakayev, that ain't Hungarian.
Well, he's from Dagestan.
Yes,
he's the one. He was part of the
Dagestan. Still loves him.
Obvious.
Yeah. He in 2016 he got hosed in the Olympic trials in Russia. He was part of the whole Lebedev.
Dagestan boycotted Russian
debacle.
nationals.
Yeah, basically after that they're like, yeah, we're out.
That's why Sadjayev didn't win that year because 57 happened, and then they said, nope, we're leaving.
Yeah, he's like, y'all don't want to see us winning, so we out.
Which, speaking of which, World Cup is this week.
Oh yeah, that's happening. Russia sent in the A team.
Really?
Which does not include Sidakov.
Yeah. They sent all their ones. Zhamalov?
Zamalov.
That guy was good. I watched a few of those
very
matches.
good.
That he's legit.
He beat Sidakov at Russian Nationals.
See, I don't like this. I like
what?
Well,
you don't like what?
I need to see an American take out Sidakov. That needs to be resolved.
Listen. Sidakov versus how do you say this guy's name? It wasn't competitive, Christian. He beat him like 9-2 or something.
He sad.
He turned him like 3 times. Well, yeah, I mean the man's heartbroken. I could,
Apparently, he kind of came back and beat him in like their training simulation matches at camp. But
the return.
They still went with them.
The Mac.
Russia they'll have them send them all to like Urigan or whatever and settle it out and have Russian nationals again. And if he blows it at World Cup or Europeans or whatever.
There's all these unresolved Russian issues, okay?
It's just
Sargush never got what was coming to him after he beat Jordan. Godoyev, same here. He just ran off, never saw him again. And now Sidakov, but he's still very young.
Jordan also beat Godoyev too, so that's a little bit better. To where he beat Godoyev before he lost to Godoyev,
and he beat Sargush also.
Yes,
multiple times. But still, it's like when you leave after the last win, it's less satisfying. I would like to see an American stomp him out, and then they can have a peaceful retirement.
What's Godoyev's first name?
Anwar, Aniur, I think.
And it's GEDUEV, right?
Yeah,
UEV.
I'm looking him up. No results found on Instagram. That's where all the Russians are.
I'm pretty sure he's on the gram. Who knows? If maybe he spells it a little.
Oh,
different.
I spelled Anwar wrong, but who knows? This is really him. It's Aniuar.
Okay, sorry.
See if it's him.
Okay, let's keep it.
Okay, sorry, I'm on Instagram.
Ben, we don't got it. He's on Instagram.
Look at him.
Excellent. Yep. That's
What's he doing with his life? He's at a car dealership or something. He's now a used car salesman
and hangs out.
Yeah.
He coaches and hangs out.
Yes.
What?
Well, so he's got good. Oh, this is a different Godoyev.
You're on the wrong Godoyev.
Well, who's this guy?
He's at the Ramzan Sports Club. That's where.
So there is an Instagram handle called Godoyev Official that has 106,000 followers with 2 posts. It's got a starving lion and Khabib. So
I'm on Godoyev Official, and he has only 3,000 some followers. But this a
lot of official Godoyevs out there.
Yeah, but this one is verified, so that feels a little more official to me. So anyway, enough about Godoyev.
Diaperhead.
That son of a gun.
That son of a gun. I can't believe he just quit. He said, I'm done after the Olympic silver, which I rewatched that this morning. I don't know if I mentioned that. Speaking of all the injury times, that match took 19 minutes to complete.
Yazdani? Yazdani Godoyev?
He was up 6-0. He had it and just like full meltdown.
Even with all those breaks, he still melted.
I think the breaks contributed to the melting.
Why do you think
rhythm?
That?
Well, he lost. I don't know. I just think if you start and stop all that many times instead of getting in the rhythm of whatever of training.
It is funny. He was just sitting in the corner while his head was getting grabbed.
also, there's a blood loss component that can't be discounted too.
Really?
Yeah.
Blood loss.
Did you ever bleed a lot in any of your fights?
I think there was one fight where I did, but no, not a ton. I cut pretty easy right above my eyes. I did it a bunch in wrestling, so I think that makes that more apt to be cutting.
Yeah. Yes, it's the scar tissue like builds up or whatever.
Would you feel like did you ever feel like fatigue from blood loss?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. You don't get tired though. So you don't count. You have caveman blood. Cavemen don't count. Okay. Man, I think there's like 1,000 different angles we could discuss on this. The GOAT argument is fun, and I want to talk about it a little more.
Is this like the greatest match in U.S. history? In recent memory, at least.
It's up there.
I pitched Rogan that this was the greatest match to happen on U.S. soil in a very long time. So don't let me down, guys. You got to back me up on this one.
It's unquestionable that that's true. I think. All right, as we recycle through time, there's some huge ones. One, Burroughs versus Dake in 17 was massive.
Ooh,
now
epic.
It's only going to be bigger now, but even then it was huge, right?
But that whole finals, because you also had David and Jaden too. That was epic.
Yeah, 2017 World Team Trials.
It will never be topped.
It will, basically untoppable. Although the 16 trials or the 2021 trials could be up there. I think. Listen. I still think maybe the biggest match of all time is David Taylor versus Kyle Dake in the NCAA Finals. I think that may be like the biggest match ever.
I disagree. No, I disagree strongly.
I bet money it's the most watched match ever.
Does that equal biggest?
Via what? Where's it on? Is it on YouTube or is it on? We're talking via
YouTube.
Or we're talking about,
I mean, online, live.
Television probably.
I feel like I disagree because they had already wrestled twice that year, and I felt like that. And it was obviously it wasn't 1-1; it was 2-0. So I felt like that took away from the finals matchup.
Man, I was so excited. I think it was.
It did not.
It was absolutely because remember how the scuffle went down. First of all,
it was very controversial.
It was very controversial.
And the first one was all-star match. So it's
second of all, how many people watched the Southern Scuffle in 2013 relative to how many people watched
it was on Flow. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I actually didn't work at Flow at the time, and it's probably a very humbling number compared to what it would be now. And listen, regardless, you've got a guy going for history for a 4th title. You've got the reigning Hodge Trophy, the biggest fan base, Penn State. Their guy, the Hodge Trophy winner. This guy's trying to make history. I know maybe for you, Ben, I think this is one of those instances where you are so close and you're so, I don't know, you're on top of everything. I think broadly, I still think Dake Taylor is like the biggest thing.
Probably the college aspect too. People still much prefer NCAA wrestling to international at this point.
That as well. I think it's that one. That's just my opinion.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, you're gonna be blown away here, Christian. I'm on YouTube. Guess what the number was? So first of all, if you type in wrestling match and then you type in most viewed, a bunch of WWE stuff comes up. But guess what? The number one that I found that was amateur. I'm just gonna tell you because you're never gonna guess it.
Is it the Vicky Anthony one? Vicky Anthony versus India?
it's Sushil Kumar versus Tanatarv in the semifinals of London. So I'm guessing a lot of Indian people love YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of Indian people watch that because UWW's most viewed is Vicky Anthony versus an Indian woman as well, I think.
Yes.
Or at one point it was because just a lot of people in India watch that, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to go get in the Indian Pro League.
Hey, we're tapping into that market this
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah, that's right. We got Bajrang. I guess we need to talk. We got to talk about
Bajrang, yeah.
Got to talk about
Bajrang's like the royal family of wrestling because he married into what is their name? There's like four sisters. Fogat. Yeah, one of them fights in one championship, and then one of the other ones had a movie made about her, and I guess it's like a really popular movie over there.
So
it's called Dangal.
Hey, real quick.
What?
From Kyle Brackey, the most watched NCAA championships finals ever were 2013. Jake Taylor,
yes.
100%.
100%.
Yes. So, and think about that. That's very telling because, wrestling since from 2013 to 2020 has unquestionably grown, right? It's grown in popularity. It's grown in
absolutely
fans, and even still, 2013 stands apart from that. So I maintain that's Jake Taylor effect. You can't convince me otherwise. I do think there was a team component there which helped, right? Penn State did not have it locked up. This was the Ed Ruth had to do quick mental math to get the major on Robert Hamlin.
I need a major now.
He's like, I guess I'll major him.
In the NCAA finals.
I'll impulsively decide to do that.
Something Ben could not do.
Quentin, something he couldn't do.
I did get a major in the NCAA finals.
Yes, that is point Askren. So anyway, I think that is part of it. But we can transition to the 150. I do want to put a pin in the GOAT discussion because I want to talk about that more, but maybe on another show.
Yeah, sometime. Hey, it would be actually relevant to talk about like on January 12th or 13th. I mean, we'd probably have a better idea at that point. You know what other match is going to be huge that's coming up, and I think you're probably going to argue that it's not as big, but credential wise, I think we're at an equivalent would be Kyle Snyder and Jaden Cox.
Yes.
Whenever that happens.
Yes,
that would be huge.
That'll be huge. They have a very interesting rivalry.
We're 5? Is it 5 world medals and 3 world titles versus 4 world medals and 2 world titles?
4 for Jaden and
2 titles.
5 for Kyle with 3 titles.
And how many 3 titles? Yeah.
15,
Snyder
16,
versus
17.
Edgelive's got 2.6 million views on United World Wrestling.
My gracious, that's a pile of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's talk about the 150 because
that was a Friday news dump.
That was a Friday news dump that we didn't want to dump. That
news dump.
We took a huge dump on everybody.
Yeah, we didn't mean to. But Joey McKenna out, and fortunately, Alec Pantaleo in. Very game competitor, ready to go. And it's funny, during the RTC Cup, I was kind of like, why isn't Pantaleo in the 150? Like, did we not ask? I was like,
I thought he wanted in, right?
He probably did. I mean, he did clearly because he's in, but it was kind of like, man, did we mess up not having Pantaleo in?
Good at RTC.
He looked really good.
And even against his match with Zayn a while back, I know he lost, but he looked pretty good.
Very competitive match. Ben predicted it would be competitive as well, and he was right. So, but then it was funny because after the RTC Cup, it kind of word got back to us like, hey, if anyone drops out of the 8-man, Alec would be interested. And it's like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, no doubt. That'd be great if it happens to have such a good replacement. And then, boom, Friday, McKenna's out. And, it worked out great because, we'd be scrambling a week before. That could be really problematic. But Alec was ready to go. We had to reseed it.
Do you have another backup just in case? Like, are you guys flying another person into Austin just in case?
JD.
I will take the mat.
Yeah, it's going to be JD.
And collect my monies.
He'll take the right. We already have the direct deposit set up with his. I assume you have a bank account.
I'm gonna warn you.
Yeah, I think
it's not gonna be very competitive.
What'd you say?
JD in that bracket, he might not be very competitive.
Well, he will have the same record as three other opponents.
I weigh almost 150 pounds.
Yeah, in the sweater, he's a good 152, and he will do as well as 3 other
That's right.
Opponents. So he would
own one.
Yes, of going 0-1. So I have a question. I'm curious. We're not changing anything for this bracket, obviously, but how we do this, where you got to win a match to get in the money, and we don't have wrestlebacks. So like, if you have Bajrang,
I like it.
First round. You like that?
Love it.
You don't like the okay. So what about if there's like repechage, and if your guy wins, he pulls you back in? You like make the semis, and you're in the money and all that. I've been like,
oh yeah. I mean,
I like it too. I don't want to change it.
I like it from a viewer's standpoint. If I were wrestling, I might not like it as much.
Well, if you did full wrestlebacks, it would add 4. I mean, if you went to 5th place, they would add 5 or 6 matches. I mean, I feel like that turns into a long night because
that's what I'm saying. From a viewer's standpoint, I like this.
Yeah, 14. And yeah, listen, they know the deal. It's not like you tricked them and said they're gonna get multiple matches. I actually, Christian, I mean, I think. And I hate this, but in jiu-jitsu, don't almost every tournament there is no wrestlebacks?
So in jiu-jitsu, it's like this. If you make the semis, I'm pretty sure. I am no expert. I'm very much a white belt.
Yeah, but like these guys pay a whole bunch of money and they go to Worlds, they get literally one match. It's crazy.
It could happen, yes, absolutely. I mean, that happens in UWW World Championships as well. You can.
Yeah, sure, but I'm talking about the non-black belt, where it's like brown belt, purple belt. Like, it's kind of crazy that these people pay all this money. Essentially just we'll say hobbyists, right? They're hobbyists. They have their purple belt. They've been kind of working hard, and they go to Worlds and they lose, and that's their only match, and then they go home.
Yes. So in jiu-jitsu, we got the idea for the 8-man from another organization in jiu-jitsu that does they do these quick little tournaments, and one night they'll have like a 200-pound bracket. If you make the semis, you can wrestle for third or fight for third, whatever they call it. So that's basically where we got the idea and thought it'd be cool to do in wrestling. I was just curious if you thought I like it. I like how it runs. I do empathize with a guy that goes 0-1 and their guy wins it. It's like, okay, I could be the second best guy, but that's what made seeding important here and why we had to reseed it with Alec, because it just wasn't right just to plop him in the 4 spot just because McKenna was the 4 and that's who he was replacing.
So where did you put Alec?
So Alec is in the 6th spot against Jo. You can see the bracket there. Tyler was ready. So
then you moved. Who was the 6th? Ashnalt?
Ashnalt up to the 5.
He'll take on Henderson. Henderson moved up to 4.
So on paper, if you're Ashnalt, you go from Jo round 1 to Evan Henderson. You got to feel pretty good.
Way different match.
Way different match. Way different style. And honestly, man, I think the bottom looks brutal, right? I think Pantaleo for Jo is. I don't know if Pantaleo is a tough stylistic matchup or not. I think he's a tough stylistic matchup for anyone.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a tough stylistic matchup for anybody. Hard hand fighter, strong, good position, especially at 150. His double has been looking phenomenal lately.
I just think I think that's why Alec wrestles Zane really tough. But I think with Jo, I think he is so technical and slick that I think it may be too much of an advantage there, to the point where I'm like, wait, is he just gonna get 3-4 takedowns and kind of pick Alec apart? Is that possible? 'Cause I could see that. I don't think Alec can stand in front of Jo. I think he's gonna have Alec's speed is insane. He's really, really fast to the leg. Is he gonna be fast enough? Is he gonna be fast enough to get to JO's? I don't know.
Yeah. I think the answer is yes. I would still lean Oliver, but Pantaleo is, not a lot of people can match Jordan athletically, and I think Pantaleo can. Pantaleo is he's a freaking outstanding athlete. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Oliver.
Bicep.
Oh yeah,
Pantaleo.
Great
I
bicep.
mention it every time, but
he is huge guns.
Oh man, you guys are funny.
He probably
Good thing we're in Texas. Those are going to be illegal in some states.
Yeah, they're legal here. So I mean, I think Alec's one of those guys when you watch him win matches, this is a guy who could should make teams, right? You think he'd make teams and really threaten, and unfortunately, he's really squeezed from a weight perspective right now.
At 54, I think he can. I mean, not this year, but when 154 comes back, 70 kg. I definitely think he could be a contender.
Yeah, he'll be
there.
a 70 guy.
Yeah.
But he said
Absolutely.
can't go 65.
No.
And it's just too small for 74.
It's not worth giving up the biceps.
No.
Period.
Oh.
You're not just going to give those up. All right, we're losing Ben. He's getting sleepy. He doesn't have enough coffee. He needs to watch. He needs to watch another Nurikawa
Burroughs match.
So the I don't know what you want to talk about with the bracket in particular, but I'm curious. I don't think we've gotten into like who we think's going to win it. I've kind of gone a couple different directions.
Are we doing full pick'ems?
I don't know if we have to do full pick'ems this show or we can save it, but if you were prognosticating, who do you think would be the favorite, Ben?
Well, I say I'm gonna pick my man Bajrang Punia.
You love Bajrang. Is it because you love his spin around defense and you really want to learn it? Hamlin.
I know how to do. Listen, I know how to do it. I know how to do the move. I just don't do it nearly as good as he does.
Because male models stick together.
Oh yeah, he's a male model too, for sure.
Stop. He is not.
He is. Go look at his Instagram.
If he's not, he is. Even if he's not, he is.
Well, he has deals. Like he has a deal with an underwear company that he puts out pictures with sometimes.
Listen, what else do you need to know?
Okay. Did you guys see? I ended up further commenting on the comment I made on Flow FRL last Thursday about who my favorite international wrestlers are.
I did see that. Why don't you bring that up? Yeah.
Oh, shoot. It's so far back. I'm not as good at searching Twitter as Kyle Bradke is. But I was going to say one of the things that it felt like once I got past like 7 or 8 that there weren't that many guys who I enjoyed that much. And I feel like there's just this like, it's hard to be a fan of international wrestling. I know Nomad pushed back on me. Willie pushed back on me. Kozak, I think, pushed back on me. Other people pushed back. It's like, sure, is it better than it was 10 years ago? Yeah, of course it is, right? But still, a lot of those matches, they're not hyped right. They take place in the middle of the night. The bracketing is sometimes hard to follow on, the way that UWW lays out the bracket. It's not super easy to follow. There's just a lot of things that can be done better to make. And then obviously the biggest one, probably the number one issue is a lot of these guys, they just don't compete a lot, period. Right. They don't compete super frequently, which makes it harder to be fans of them.
Yeah. What was, I don't even know what the pushback could be there. It's unquestionable.
Well, I think a lot of people were just saying that it's a lot. It's true. It is a lot better today than it was 8 years ago, right? 8 years ago, you could watch almost no international wrestling, and it is unquestionably better. It's just not that good still.
Yeah, it's not where it could be, for sure. It's not. I mean, improvement doesn't mean it's on the level yet, but it's getting there. Yeah. So yeah, I found it. I found the post. So you said your top 5 were Sajalayev, Bajrang, Yazdani, Chimizo, and YBR. It's funny because I don't get that excited to watch Sajalayev. For whatever reason,
because he's just gonna smash whoever he's wrestling.
And I know, and I basically know how he's gonna smash too. It's like
but there's this mystique around him, and I think Kyle is. And actually, when I was on YouTube page for UWW, he was like 4 of the top 10 matches. So I mean, other people feel similarly to me, I guess. But I think the Kyle thing brought where he actually lost and then built himself back up was a really big thing for him. I think there's just a mystique around him and the fact that I would say he's on pace unless Kyle or Jaden can stop him to be considered in the GOAT conversation for the whole world.
Yes. I mean, he's like the GOAT of GOATs, potentially. He's on that kind of trajectory. That's going to help his viewership for sure. I think there's a glaring missing
don't say Musakayev.
I'm saying Musakayev right now. He should be on the list. I would rather see him.
Do your top 5 right now, quick.
Top 5 are
because it's got to be some people on this list, and there's not a lot that are super popular that I left off.
I think Chimizo's my number 1.
Okay.
Chimizo's my number 1. Man, Musakayev is on there. I don't care what you say.
Do not put Musakayev at number 2, Christian.
I'm not putting him at number 2. I like Rashidov. I'm looking at the rankings here so I can quickly come up with them.
Yeah.
I like Bajrang.
Odagiro's fun. He beats Bajrang.
Odaguru, I should have put Odaguru.
I love
there.
Odaguru.
But he's another one. Christian, when's the last time Odaguru competed? Like
Asians, right before
you
pandemic in February or March. He beat Bajrang in
like
the
never see
finals,
him.
I think.
And didn't watch it. Didn't happen.
I think.
Well, if they didn't watch, Christian, I mean, but what this really tells you is, if I didn't watch, it means that I didn't see it. If I see someone promoting Odaguru versus Bajrang, I'm gonna click on that freaking link or click on that video. It means it was not promoted very well. It's not like
Asians.
I'm not looking at wrestling stuff. I don't look at it as much as you guys because it's literally your job and that's what you do all the time. And I have a few other jobs that I do.
But as a fan, you should know when
Yes.
these two top 10 guys in the world are hitting in wrestling.
And I didn't see it. I couldn't have named it. And so that would be like, to my point is like, these matches aren't promoted properly to where, regular people see them. Because if I didn't see them, there's got to be a lot of other people who, like me in America, did not see them.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can take that challenge on and make sure everyone knows when these matches are happening and get people excited. Okay. Do we want to head back to
You didn't list your 5.
Okay, I don't know my 5. I don't know my 5.
Have it ready for tomorrow.
I will have it tomorrow. I want to do it right. Okay. Does JD have his 5 chambered up, ready to go?
Not ready.
He's not ready.
I could probably list 5, but I don't know.
He's still workshopping it. I really liked Akul back in the day.
I almost put him on there.
I just thought he was so. I feel like I never thought he should ever lose ever. Like I was always like, how does anyone beat this guy? But Gino did it many times. So I always really liked him a bunch. I'm trying to think. All right, we'll move on.
Hey, I did not read through the doc prior to this. I was just bantering with you guys. I just looked at the doc. Nick Lee's. Why the hell would Nick Lee Olympic red shirt?
I think they're playing. It was an interview with.
Doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. He said it in an interview, but why would he do that? I actually don't believe it. I think he's just.
Well, why would you say that?
I don't know. Mess around with people.
Because number one, let's see. How many reasons can we have? Number one, Penn State needs him to win a national title. There's other good people, but not as good as he is. Number two, the year does not count against his eligibility no matter what. Number three, it's not like he can go compete in a bunch of competitions because the competitions don't really exist. Number four, he's not even that close to being on the team. He's like number 9 or 10 or 11, or he's relatively far down there. I mean, I just gave you 4 really good reasons why it's a terrible idea right there. I do have a plan.
Those are great.
It could be something with actual school. But Kale also said on Bashmania a while back that they were going to roll out everybody this year because he said the same thing. Why not? There's no harm.
Yeah. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand. I mean, well, on the one hand, Bo Bartlett is going to be incredible this year. He's going to be really good right away. That's happening.
Oh. Yeah, but we talked about either way. You got to have a 33, 41, 49. If you go 33 with RBY, then 41, 49 are going to be Bartlett, Nick Lee, whichever way you put them. Obviously, they're both probably ideally 141, but you still got to fill that other spot. And Verclaren's been, and he's been a top 12 to 20 guy, and I can't really see him making his way into the upper echelon.
No.
Put Nick Lee up there. I think Nick Lee's going to make his way in the upper echelon at 149.
Yes, I would agree with that as well. That's what I thought made the most sense. But if he's taking Olympic, I mean, I don't know, why would he do that? Because,
like I said,
there's nothing. There's no red shirt.
It has to be like a school thing.
Yeah, I know, but you don't. Why even?
What kind of school thing would it be?
What school thing makes you unenroll from school? Because Olympic red shirt, you're not even. I don't even think you're enrolled.
No, you're not. That's why there's no point in not going to school and just not wrestling if you don't want to, because it's a free year. So,
but it's not free in terms of. It's free in terms of. It doesn't count against your 4-year eligibility. It's not free in terms of their scholarship allotment for Nick Lee.
Yes.
So could it be that reason?
This year's not the issue. It's next year. Because next year is when no one graduates, and more people. And Penn State already is told, who do they have next year? I don't know. Some good people, I'm sure. Right?
Yes.
They already told
Like
these
coming
guys,
in?
we're going to give you scholarship. Yeah, the
Facundo.
senior class
Facundo.
of Facundo, and there's a couple other people, right?
Shane Van Ness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might be getting some money.
Next year's the problem. This year should not be the problem. This year, you've already told these guys, what they're going to get. The seniors all are gone, so there shouldn't be an issue there.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I mean, I think Nick, I would be surprised if Nick, I'm still like, is Nick Lee really not going to wrestle this year? I don't know if I understand that.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. I don't believe it. And if he does it, okay, sure, but I don't think I'll understand why.
Yeah.
Because to your point, why would you not? Maybe they want to wrestle. I don't know. If you wrestle Bo now, and then maybe he could redshirt next year.
Anything.
Yeah, I know.
But this year they still redshirt next year because this year doesn't count against him.
I know.
He could be eligible both years. Well, same sequence, same scenario.
Yeah, I don't understand it, to be sure. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
We'll see if that's what they do. I mean, to me, I said basically all last year, maybe got laughed at, but I kind of thought Penn State had a shot to win it all last year, even to the bitter end. I thought there's still an outside scenario. Well, the thing is, we'll never know, Ben. We'll never know.
Oh my. Okay, Chael.
But in this instance, we actually will never know. And now this year, I think they have a very live shot too. But
they got a better shot this year than last year for sure.
Absolutely, they do. But you take out Nick Lee. Listen, I think Bo Bartlett is going to be good and going to be in every match, and a guy that could actually contend for a title right out the gate. But I think there's a level of assuredness with Nick Lee, and I don't know if Bo's going to be ready to come in and bonus the way Nick Lee does. Nick Lee puts up a ton of points. That guy's a Terminator, right? He just chews through people.
Yes.
I think he was going to be with Yanni up at 49, if Nick Lee was on like a Hodge trajectory well into the year. Now, it's so different now. He's got like 4 matches, so maybe throw that out. But like in a normal year, I think he'd be bonusing through everyone, and then he'd hit Ironman, and maybe he would lose that one. Maybe he would beat him, but maybe it would be a decision. I don't know. And then, but I think he would be on like a super high contributing bonus point wrestler for Penn State. But you take him out, I don't know. I don't know if Bo's ready to contribute on that end. I know Bo's ready to beat just about everyone in the bracket, but I don't know if he can do the bonus point things. So I don't know. It doesn't help Penn State if he's out.
Yeah, I agree.
That much I do know. Okay. Want to go to questions?
Sure, let's go to questions.
All right. Joshua Atkinson, DTJB over under 16 total points. He didn't put a question mark. I'll throw it in there.
Under. What would you set the line at, though?
I would have said, I think 10 and a half.
I was going to say that range, yeah.
11. I would say 11.
You're saying 11?
Yeah, so we're close.
If it's 10 and a half, I
6'5".
would take over.
I feel like if there's
a 6'5" match.
If there's a takedown in the first 30 seconds, it could just be on, right?
But if it goes later in to the second period, then it's going to be lower scoring.
Well, yes, if it goes later into the second period.
Naturally.
It would already be low scoring. Yeah, I think 10 and a half's fair. Yeah.
That's where you're going to get some. At 16, everyone's going to bet the under.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. But hey, I like where Joshua Atkinson's head's at.
I hope they score 16 points.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Okay, last week, I haven't even read this question. I just started reading it. Maybe I should.
We both agreed on this one, Christian.
Are there any other rule changes that could make freestyle scoring clearer or better without drastically changing the sport? Because
I have one.
Go.
Get rid of grounding.
Okay, we talked about that.
That's he didn't read the question. The question was we talked about a desire for grounding to be eliminated. Is there anything else besides that?
I think the one thing they could do
I got two things.
Okay,
After you go one.
You go first. I'm gonna try to key up Tyler on something here.
Oh, if it's Don Bradley and Yusuf.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, so the one thing I've talked about last week in like the Sammy Brooks scenario, the 2 and 2. If you take them down and put them on their back, that should be 2 and 2 versus just 2. And then the other thing would be if you really want to make it clean and no controversy, you take away people's ability to score back points, the 4-pointer. You have to get a takedown to get a near, the turn points, which it does change a little bit of the essence of freestyle wrestling.
To back, it's just 2.
You have to secure the takedown before you get the back one. So if you feet and then hold them on the back, you would get 2 and 2, which would essentially make 4. But it would take out these chest wrap double leg scenarios, which, if you want to say one thing that would be confusing, or possibly if you want to go past confusing and say like it's something where people use to cheat, it would be that that chest wrap double leg type of scenario where it could go forward one way or go forward the other way, and that's an 8-point swing, which is huge in freestyle.
Well, they need to figure out the out of bounds, like step out continuation bit. There's been some talk about that recently. Like, if a guy steps out, can he still get points?
Or how many steps?
Well, like if say a guy doubles you to the edge, you step out, but then you chest wrap. It's a continuation, but you stepped out first. Can you score that chest wrap?
I like
a lot of times they say no and they'll go step out, but then sometimes they say, okay, yes, that's still continuation.
Yeah, and
really? I feel like the defensive guy can't usually score, or almost
not normally.
That is what it's supposed to be.
It happened at U23s and at RTC Cup
with Vito.
Yes,
and it said something. I asked a ref about it, and I've got a. I want to pull this this Bajrang Jo clip because I think it really clearly illustrates the one of the main questions, and I may have given you the wrong timestamp, but I think it's coming soon. So basically, it's really actually sort of like the Yanni Zane situation right here. So it's like, whose man's is this? All right, so you got Jo deep on a single leg, right? Keep it moving. This will be a little bit. Bajrang's going to make eye contact with us here, and he's just like chilling here, and then boom, roll through. So maybe hit the 5-second back there real quick. I mean, I don't know.
It looks like Oliver
2 and 2 because Oliver puts him in a very dangerous position, and then Bajrang, holds him there. So that I would say 2-2. I believe they only went 2 Bajrang, right?
They just went 2 Bajrang, and to me, it looks like Jo initiates the roll, but at the same point, like I'm going back and I'm looking at Bajrang actually tenses up and squeezes. You can see his body squeezing, and then he rolls through. Watch it again.
But so like I said, I would never argue that Bajrang didn't do the end part of this action, but he's also forced to a position where that's his only choice.
But you could say he initiated the roll here. Jo is not
didn't initiate because Jordan, Jordan pushes right there. No, so watch go. If we play in slow motion, Jordan pushes first. Bajrang realizes I have no other options, and then he goes right. So if you go slow motion,
we don't have that.
Right. Jordan pushes first.
Yeah.
And then boom. Right. See, Jordan pushes first, and then Bajrang goes.
Yeah.
So, and this is where I said, the confusing part about freestyle is this type of thing, and I said from neutral position, but obviously these things there. Yeah. So Jordan pushed first, and then Bajrang went because he had nowhere else to go. So I would say 2-2. But if you take away the ability to do these neutral dangers, I guess you'd say, or however you want to say it, where you have to score a takedown and then you can get a turn, you take away 97% of the controversy from freestyle wrestling.
Yeah. So how would you like to see this called in a perfect world?
Well, I know I'm saying if the rule set, and I said I don't know if I love it because it does change. It kind of changes the essence of freestyle wrestling. You cannot score near fall, or back exposure until you get a takedown, and so therefore, your front head pinch wouldn't really be a thing, or your crotch lock wouldn't really be a thing. You have to get the takedown, and then you can score the exposure. So it does kind of change, like I said, change the essence of freestyle wrestling, which I'm not sure is good, but I don't really see another way to take out the controversial aspects without doing that.
Well, it seems like there's a way to me. I just think they need to codify
It's not,
it,
Christian. We
right?
discussed this. It's impossible.
I don't know if it's
Passionate.
impossible.
I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this, that it is impossible.
Okay. Well, I really don't want to dramatically change freestyle wrestling. I think exposure without takedown is that's like a pillar of the sport, in my opinion. It's like a huge part about like how pristine your positioning needs to be. So I don't want to change that. I think there's a way you can like rule it out in the official. This is something we talk about all the time during the Zayn Yanni saga, because it's like, how do you know what's right and what's wrong here? How do you know who's initiating what?
Because it's so close to 50-50. It's so close, right? There's the spectrum where it's 100% this guy, it's obvious, 100% this guy. And then, but then there's these ones that are right in the middle. Like Zayn Yanni was like as close as it gets to whose move was it? I'm not freaking sure. They both kind of did some really good things here. I just don't think, I think you want it to be clean, and I don't think there's a way to do that.
Well, my thought on all rules is, how can we reward the aggressor, right? To me, the aggressor is
dumb. Then you're possibly rewarding a guy who does stupid things, because then you're going to slant the other way, and that's something you don't want to do.
Well, I don't know that. I think if the instance I'm thinking about is a guy's in on a leg deep, he's working for a finish, and a guy desperation pulls him through for 2. I don't know. I feel like that could be a 2-2 exchange, or it doesn't have to be a straight 2 for. Right. So I feel like if you're rewarding the aggressor there, not the guy that's in a desperation position and like has no other option but to like try to take this guy through, I think that's a way to do it. And I like the idea of going 2-2 on those scenarios, right? Like obviously that can't be a straight 2 for JO because he got held at the end.
I would agree 2-2 there is probably the proper way. But I'm saying there was a slight time, I want to say 2 years ago, where they were really trying to reward the aggressor, to your point, especially on like the double leg chest wrap situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's the difference between a good chest wrap and a shit chest wrap. There's a big difference. And there was a whole bunch of times, and now I'm talking high school, U17, U20 action that I'm coaching, where the guy hits a very clear chest wrap where it's obvious it's his move. He did it.
Yes.
And they give the offensive guy 4 points. It's like, well, that's an 8-point swing there, because you want to reward the offensive guy because why? Because I don't know, because it makes your job easier or something. It's just not the right call. I pitched him to his back very evidently, but because he's the aggressor, we're going to give him 4 points instead of me. Like I don't recall what year it is, but I literally had to say, guys, we got to stop doing chest wraps, because no matter how good you do it, they're just not going to give you points. It is dumb. But I don't make the rules, so we need to cut it out, because we are getting scored on. Even when we are actually literally scoring the points, they're giving points to the guys. So we're just going to stop.
Internationally, it's different. They're calling. I mean, Zayn got hit in the chest wrap against Bajrang himself. We saw a bunch of chest wraps at RTC Cup. They were called, right?
I'm saying that was only for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago where they were really like, it's the offensive guy, and it's like, you guys just watch the freaking wrestling and tell me who scores. And yes, there's gonna be some really difficult situations, but you can't just say aggressor wins. It's dumb.
Listen, wrestling. Here's the thing. Freestyle wrestling may be one of the most difficult sports in the world to officiate. Okay.
Agreed.
I agree. I think that's probably true. Okay, so that is true. And then on the other hand, you have hundreds and hundreds of refs that are volunteers, that they only do this every so often. They're not professional. We don't have Ed Hockley doing Fargo, right? We have people that are doing their very, very best, and it's for the hardest sport to officiate.
I really don't think it's that much harder than like folk style.
It's definitely harder than folk style.
I think it's way harder.
No.
I think it's yes, absolutely harder. I personally,
these situations, there's not an equivalent in folk style to these situations that we're talking about.
No. What's the hardest thing to officiate in folk style?
Near fall, like if they're at that 45-degree angle. Probably.
I mean, now we're just talking
questionable
geometry.
Questionable
takedowns. Yeah, I mean, you see, but that is not eliminated in freestyle, I don't think.
It also is not, yeah. I mean, if you think of Franklin Gomez, Brett Metcalf, for example.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but like the only way, again, and the way you could take out the controversy is the way I discussed, which also changed the essence of freestyle wrestling. So again, I'm not sure that I love it. I don't really love that solution, but it would be a solution. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I think you're always gonna be stuck with it.
Yeah. Okay. Next, this might be our last question. It's 9:41. Okay. Well, CJ Kemp, he just basically wants to know what our favorite turn was. What was your favorite turn? What was Bracky's favorite tilt? Bracky's not here. I don't even know if Bracky did tilts or what he did. But we can go to JD on that. And the young male model's favorite stack to hit while on top. I don't know if Ben hit many stacks, but
no.
You did. You definitely did a 3/4. That was your go-to. If you had a 3/4 against Wes Roberts,
you would have got some bonus points.
I don't think it would have worked. It would have worked.
So what was JD? What was your go-to turn?
I don't know if I really had a go-to turn. Good old Jake Varner power half.
Really? With legs?
No. Maybe just a bar. Especially once I got older, I didn't do a whole lot of turning.
All right.
Just slap that right on.
Just throw the bar on. Ben.
Cradle, obviously the greatest move that's ever been invented by human beings is the cradle.
I think so too. So
my arms were way too short to cradle.
People ask me my favorite.
No, once I got it though, it was tight.
If you got short arms, you get a cradle. It's immediately tight.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's an advantage. So I sucked at wrestling, but I will say the turn I had the most effect with as a coach in teaching kids was actually Ben's cradle series, which the very basic cradle ride of this really helped. This was a very helpful technique in the Shenandoah Valley. You just go outside, you go on the outside pec, outside ankle. They would step up all the time. They either go flat or step up, go right to cross. So you don't need that much. And no one was rolling through on cradles back then. I say back then like it was the 80s, but use that to great effect. So thanks. Money well spent on that DVD, Ben, before I ever met you. Hey, all right. Actually, the last question is there a phenomenon of people in Wisconsin eating raw beef sandwiches? Ben,
no.
Your people are suspects.
I have literally never seen it. I've never heard about it. I don't know what the hell these people are talking about. Maybe it's in Haunchyville or something. But I can tell you unequivocally, I have never seen anyone eat a raw beef sandwich that makes me want to puke.
That is disgusting. Listen, I'll eat sushi and nice medium rare steak. The idea of ground beef is it's very dangerous. You could get very sick eating uncooked ground beef.
I will tell you, Mr. Real Budo is a meat man. You know him?
I don't know. I mean, I know.
Out of New York City.
Dang.
Yeah, but he said to my wife, because my wife would get a medium rare burger once in a while.
That's dangerous.
He said that is really stupid and dangerous. You should always have your ground beef cooked very well because of the whole process it goes through. It's way more likely to get E. coli if you don't cook it properly. So Wisconsin people, stop eating raw ground beef, you morons.
Yeah, Mr. Ributo is right. You know who else was right about this? Debbie Piles has been on the cook the ground beef through crusade for years. I remember we went to this. Listen, there was this terrible drive-through in Stanton called Hot and Now, and you could get burgers for like 30 cents. And we went through the line there like 3 times, because she got the burger, flip it open, it was still pink. She just kept going until they gave her cooked through burgers, and then eventually she would just sit there and wait.
That's what she wants.
Yeah. So it's been ingrained in my mind that your ground beef has to be cooked all the way through. So
that's too funny.
Score one. That place is surprisingly out of business and has been for over 20 some years now, unfortunately. Well, we got to go. It's 9:45. Man, what a show.
See you tomorrow.
And we have far from exhausted the JBDT discussion and the 150 8-man, which is Friday, mind you. Very excited for that.
It's not Saturday?
I hope
it's Friday night.
It's Friday. 11-18.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
So one less day you have to wait, man. Thanks to JD for subbing in. Stay on call. Keep your pager ready in case Tracky can't come back tomorrow. We may need you to step in again. I expect you to have your best sweater picked out. Thank you guys so much for listening. There's no show without you. So big thanks. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good Tuesday.